Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Neophyte Stack. Wanted to discuss a few topics for this video for the new year of 2022. A recap of 2020 was awesome. We had an $8 gain on silver per ounce, but then it shot back down negative $3 in 2021 when I kind of have been vocal about this. That was peak inflation. We have inflation now and silver's still dropping. It's not going up. It looks like we had a good run the last 2 weeks or the last week where we saw the price shoot up $2 in a very short amount of time, thinking that it was going to go to the moon. There's a lot of discussion about it's ready to explode. I've been through that years ago in 2018, 2019. Everything sounds good. It sounds good in conversation. It's just reasonable to understand the value of silver being undervalued. But in the long run, I think that we kind of also need to face the fact that the market is manipulated, and the paper silver futures market is just horrible if you're going to tie it to the physical market. We got a lot of spoofing. If you don't know what that is and you're new, you can look up the JP Morgan guys who got popped, and actually the lawyers or the attorneys that were in court used the RICO status, the RICO statute, I should say, the racketeering statute that they use for mafia. So that was super interesting. I think that's a big hit on spoofing as far as what they've done in the past over it. And I think that we can expect a little less manipulation moving forward. But another topic that I wanted to discuss was the currency. Everyone seems to think that the US dollar is weakening because of the trillions of dollars that we money printed. If you look at the DXY, it looks like the dollar isn't as it's not much weaker than it was 2 years ago before the whole pandemic or the Black Swan event that happened. The US dollar is still relatively strong as it was the day before the pandemic. Go and check it out. I think it was at 95 and in between a mid 95 and 2 years ago it was at 96. So it doesn't seem like it's had any effect. I'm still not sure if there's any kind of delay as far as when we've printed off so much money in the last 2 years. When does it actually take effect to the public and we start to see it? Well, I mean, one measurement is the inflation. I went to the grocery store. Bacon costs twice as much. Meat costs twice as much. Vegetables cost more because of the price of gasoline going up, and to get it to the stores. There's a lot more stories coming out about shelves not being stocked. So we're starting to kind of see a big hit in the chain supply. But what can we expect moving forward? I still think that silver hasn't gone above $28, $27 by this coming week or next week. It's not going to happen. It's going to have the same kind of resistance as it did prior when it got to $24, $25 and we got super excited. That was several months ago. I think I had a video on it as well. But if it doesn't go past $27, in my eyes, it's not very likely to happen. Could it happen? Of course. I don't like to talk down about silver, but these are just common things that we kind of need to see. I know a lot of people are very optimistic about silver exploding. I'm not so much because of the amount of things that I've seen over the last 2 years or 3 years, 4 years when I started stacking. Premiums are still not going down. There's still $4 or $5 premiums. And one of the other big issues that I wanted to talk about were the local coin shops. I've seen more and more coin shops putting out videos on YouTube, which is awesome to see. They need a voice and also to give out information to new stackers. I think it's a good thing to see. Now, what concerns me is that, for instance, my local coin shop doesn't buy bullion direct from the mint. And I'm understanding that a lot of local coin shops don't. They rely on the public for the inventory. So they need people to come in and sell off what they found or what they were inherited to. And the price of what they buy it at is much less than what a normal stacker could sell their own stack to another stacker for because of the reasoning of premium, but also because a local coin shop is a third party. When the public comes and drops off their inventory and sells it to them, the local coin shop needs to understand that they have to buy it much, much lower than spot or as close to spot as possible because they need to flip it. Now, the premiums are in favor right now. They're about $5, which means that maybe every ounce that they buy, they can give $1 over spot. But that's not the case. I've heard more and more people getting, generic rounds below spot, so minus $1. And then what they actually do as soon as that person leaves is put them right on display and sell them for plus $5 an ounce. So as there's more platforms, there's a much larger community in stacking silver now. I think that that's going to go away pretty soon. That people who do have inventory, who are stacking, are going to realize that they can get a much better price per ounce if they sell it on eBay or if they sell it to other stackers, and not go through the local coin shop channels. Now, eBay has some issues, right? They take a percentage, and then it takes a lot of time to take pictures and upload the details to each bullion round or coin whatever they're selling. If you're online and you grow a presence among yourself, like channels are doing now, they have YouTube auctions. They can sell them plus premium, is what I call it. Not only are they getting the premium, but because of entertainment value, they're getting a plus premium on top of it, where they might sell an ounce for $40 when spot price is in the low 20s. So like it's now, it's not very unlikely that they can get plus $10. It's actually common that they're getting plus $10 off the price of silver because of the action, because of the competition of buying during auctions, live auctions, and it's good fun entertainment. Now, for the people who have been stacking, they understand that premium is a killer on your profit or your gain, and it takes a very long time for silver to actually become more and more valuable. If you look at the 100-year spot price chart, silver's has very few years over $25 out of the last 100. So if you're an older stacker, you're conscientious about this, and you're kind of selling off your stack as it's doubled or tripled in value. And in your eyes, you're just gonna reload up your inventory when the prices drop, and that's what I'm waiting for. I'm very, very opinionated on this. I think that silver is going to go below $20 again. It's just going to take a little bit more time. It's already 2 years in. We're starting to see effects of inflation, and I think we can just kind of relax for another year, and silver is going to start to trickle down below $20 and ultimately settle in between the $15 to $19 range. That's my prediction. I'm hoping that I'm right because I've pumped my brakes on buying more silver. Now, some people, it doesn't even matter that silver can be $30 or $40 and they're still going to stack heavy, which is awesome. I just can't do that right now. I can't afford to do that. And the way the spot price chart has acted in the last 2 years is very, very similar to some of the stocks that I follow online. Stocks are very volatile as well, and silver's been the same kind of way, where it shoots up and then it comes trickling back down. Now what we're seeing is a market crash right now. It's starting to go down. I'm not certain if it's called a crash. I think it has to fall in between 6% to 20%, but we're right at the border of that, 5%, and we're going to start to see stocks devalue significantly, and we're going to see what the silver price does. Now, today, silver price is $24.04. It's not very, it's not popping. If it was at $27, I would get super excited and think that there's still a run happening. But in my eyes, I feel like it's over with. 2 years after the pandemic, things have gone up, they've gone down, and we're still here holding at, the mid 20s or the lower 20s. I'm not too sure what everyone's going to think about it or what they kind of plan on doing, but it is what it is. These are the kind of things of silver stacking, and I just kind of remind myself that, okay, I'll pump the brakes for right now. I'm going to stick with my plan that silver will go down below 20, and then I can start to consume more silver. Again, in my eyes anyways, my plan has always been the 5 to 20% rule. You shouldn't be stacking more. I'm sorry, this is my opinion only, but in my eyes, I shouldn't stack more than 20% of my income, my take home pay. So most people think that you need 1,000 ounces. I've seen some Reddit comments where there was 1,000 ounces that you needed. You needed 100 ounces of gold to be set. There's plenty of people here who have been stacking more than 10 years who have accumulated way more than that. And then there's some people who have accumulated that in a very short period of time. Either way, I'm very happy that people are just stacking silver because that helps with a lot of different things. As far as pulling more silver off that silver market and driving the price up higher. But we'll see what really happens. I'm kind of in between. I'm in the backgrounds pretty much because I'm trying to handle other things with my current debt situation. But my stocks, which is super interesting, is that I do hold certain stocks, and they have been awesome during this inflationary time. Now, the stock price you can only reason that the stock price is going to go up when there's more money involved because people are buying and spending more, and that's what's driving up the price. But now, as it crashes, I'm still in the green, or in the black, as I should say, that I'm still positive during this, this time of bad chain supply. We had a chain supply issue, and the value has been there. The store of value in stocks have been there, which is crazy because we see that gold and silver is a hedge against inflation. Last year, inflation was already peaking, and silver didn't do anything over $30. So the argument is, well, why isn't it protecting the store of value that I have? It's devaluing, and we've kind of seen that since mid last year, where it was at $26, $27, and now it's at 24. So it's been 6 months, and the value of silver has been coming down. What does it mean? I don't know. Everything is pretty much after the fact. There's not a whole lot of professionals or pros who have been stacking who sit here and have a Houdini ball and say, this is what it's going to do next. I encourage everyone to talk about what they feel like silver will do, but with facts, right? So I've seen the silver peak at $30 an ounce, and it's just been devaluating ever since. It's been coming down in spot price ever since that happened. And in the next couple of months, I still think that trend is still going to continue. It's still going to go down. And that's the reason for my belief. Now, what the market does, I'm not certain I've heard anyone say why the price of that. I feel like as silver stackers, if we don't understand the futures market, we don't have access to that information live, we don't know what's going on. A lot of it seems like it's spoofing, but I think until we can get off that silver's future market and kind of just, I don't know any other way it would work, but if it could work without the futures market, I think that we'd be in a much better situation right now. But until we figure that out, it is what it is. So enough about that. I had the pesos here is because I wanted to talk about the inflation. So in our country, a lot of Americans are saying that, our purchasing power is going to crap. There's all kinds of, money printing. But here's the thing. I'm not worried until we see an exchange house everywhere that we go. Once you see a casa de cambio, is what they call them in Mexico, where you go and you turn in US dollars for pesos as an American when you cross over. But you have to understand the situation in Mexico, where when their money starts to devalue, they go and change it for US dollar. That's the biggest piece of info I can tell you. Other countries rely on the US dollar and keeps it strong. That's why, in my opinion, the US dollar will never go away. It's never going to devalue to nothing. It's never going to be in some kind of hyperinflation situation because other countries rely on the US dollar. It backs it up. Now, the idea of it going into hyperinflation like Zimbabwe back in 2009 or Venezuela, which is currently happening, these are difficult situations. These are difficult issues to figure out exactly why it happens. I know that in history, it seems like the U.S. has always constantly put pressure on other economies that are doing well, and then kind of in a weird way sabotage their economies from doing well and keeping that dependency on the U.S. dollar. Um, but that's something that you kind of need to understand until we see uh, change houses, I would call them in English. You know, when you go to the mall and you need to go and change out some US dollar for some euros because they're more stable than we are, or, the dinars or any of the currencies that are just stronger than the US dollar right now, then that's when you got to worry. But I don't think that will ever happen. It's very, very unlikely to happen. But I've seen this as I've traveled through South America. There's exchange houses everywhere, and residents only are allowed to exchange so much of their currency for US dollars per month. There's actually a limit, and the way they keep track of this limit is by asking them for their ID thumbprint or, like a social security number. On our end, it was a passport. We had to show a passport every time we had to exchange money so they can keep track of that. But I also saw locals in line, and they were exchanging their currency for US dollars to battle the upcoming inflation that was already going to happen. So when I was traveling, we got so much more pesos per the dollar. And this wasn't in Mexico, it was in a different country, but we got more pesos for each dollar that we were changing, and we were in the middle of the week where prices haven't changed, so we were buying more with each dollar that we were spending. But that's something to kind of consider. If you don't see exchange houses on U.S. soil, then you have you shouldn't have any kind of concern for hyperinflation or any of that extreme situations where you see a lot of people relate to or bring up Venezuela or any other country that's experiencing that inflation right now. So that's just something to think about. We talked about the local coin shops. They got to figure something out as far as what's coming next year. I think that as more people are stacking, they're going to realize that that's just a third party. Yes, it's very convenient to liquidate, but you're going to suffer on the buyback price. And if you were just to build your presence online and let everyone know that you are a stacker, you connect with other people in the community, I think it's going to be much easier to sell off your silver. Now, you have to be careful here, not during a peak of spot price. There's nothing, if silver goes to $50, none of the other stackers are going to buy your silver because they're following the market just like you are. And if you're going to go to a local coin shop to unload, they're going to get the pick of the litter. If you haven't read Second Chance by David Morgan and his co-author, he talked about this in the 80s where silver spiked over $50. There was a line in Los Angeles at a pawn shop that was going around the corner, and they were buying back each silver ounce at $35 when spot price was at nearly $50. Now, that's something to think about. There's going to be plenty of people who have gigantic stacks. You see these stackers who have 10,000 ounces of silver, and if we're in a market where it's parabolic and it shoots up just for a couple of days and it comes right back down, you're less likely going to be able to sell that silver to your local coin shops or your local pawn shops because they understand the move as well, and they're not going to offer you top dollar. So it's very important that silver rises in price slowly and it's stable. That's the biggest issue. But going back to the whole local coin shop, they're going to have to figure something out, because if we have more and more silver stackers who are selling off their stacks online on auctions or just by Instagram, they're going to kind of slowly move them out of the way. I'm sure that they're going to go back to numismatic sellers where that's what they've been doing prior. But it's something to think about. Now, there's going to be good arguments, good debates over that. But in my eyes, I do not really shop at local coin shops because of that. Because of the secondary ounces of silver that they get, they're just kind of beat up. I never get my choice of what I want. Online bullion dealers are so much easier. They have so much selection. Some of us are, we want certain things because we're going to hold forever. We don't really necessarily stack because it's just silver is silver. We actually stack for small mintages or just the design of certain coins that we like. So there's a little bit more selection online. One of the bad things is that there's a record of when you buy silver. So I know some people are super concerned about the U.S. government taking away their precious metals like they did in 1933, but that's something to consider. We've been off the gold standard for almost 90 years. I don't see it going back. They figured out that they can print and print and print, and there's no need to go back to the gold standard in any kind of situation. What they've always done is figured some kind of way out of their debt. You know, I've said this before in other posts that the U.S. government is indebted 23 plus trillion dollars, and they're giving us credit scores. Like, you know, what kind of audacity do they have to do that? But moving right along, so we've talked about the local coin shops, figuring something out. Listen, they were here prior, you know, before stackers. They're going to be here after stackers. A lot of the people who own coin shops are pretty much well off anyways. They can sit on their numismatic coins for a very long time and still be okay. If they kind of, I think that that's just an extra form of income. You know, when they're silver stackers who are buying silver, they're buying it and flipping it, and it's just kind of like an icing on the cake. It's another form of passive income. And it moves really fast. When you go into a local coin shop, they're going to take the pick of the litter. Usually American Silver Eagles are the first to go because that's what's most wanted. And, you know, then it goes from there. They might not want to take all your stack. They might just want to take the certain American Silver Eagles and just kind of go away with any kind of generics that you might have, especially if it's not moving. So that's something to think about. All right, you guys, a very long video, 20 something minutes, but I kind of just want to let everyone know. Thank you for tuning in. Happy blessings, happy stacking.